let's move into cryptocurrency.
Okay. As far as crypto goes, like I was just an early adopter of the technology, and I just like how it operates. I wrote a song about Bitcoin in 2012 that became somewhat popular, and it's probably my most played song. But when I had gotten into Bitcoin, it was very like 2009 is kind of when it started, and 2011, 12, 13 is sort of when it was on my radar. And at that time, it was just coffee shop meetings type stuff. It wasn't it was like 20 people would come to these meetups. It wasn't this huge phenomenon that it is now. And I just really appreciated the technology aspect of it. It solved this intractable problem in computer science called the Byzantine generals problem. But it's basically just, how do you solve the ability to double spend currency? And, how do you trust, like, how can you assign authority to somebody sort of verifying these transactions? And I spoke about earlier that the hashing thing where you try to find the most zeros in this arbitrary hash that you're pumping values into. And so that's pretty much how it's done. But it's just the cool thing about cryptocurrency or where it came from. I'm not a big fan of banks. That there's been times I've gone to the bank and I've asked them for the money that's mine, and they're like, "Oh, you got to wait. We got to get it for you." Or, I tried to send a wire the other day and they were like, "Why are you sending this wire?" And I said, I don't, why do I have to tell you that? Like, it's not, it's my money. I should be able to do what I want with it. So Bitcoin eliminates all that stuff. But it also, you're in charge of your destiny there. So if you lose your keys or you give somebody your passphrase or whatever and you get wiped out, there's no phone number that you can call to beg for it back. So you have this responsibility that also kind of comes with that. But the problems that people try to, for a while there's a lot of pitch decks floating around Silicon Valley that were trying to solve every problem with blockchain, and that's just not the case. There's certain things that it does really well. And so the fact that it's distributed, decentralized, the purest kind of crypto world that, becomes a great alternative currency, alternative value store. If I want to send money to a foreign country without going to Western Union, without dealing with a bank, like, it's nice because it's practically immediate, within 5 minutes, and you can do it very cheaply relatively. I mean, I can send $1 billion, for less than $1, in less than 5 minutes type thing. So it's a great concept. But I don't buy into a lot of the hype around cryptocurrency now the way that it is. It's become kind of taken over by a lot of finance pros and, quants and Wall Street types that are just kind of in it to make a buck. But I was always just a purist. I'm just in it for the technology and in it for the...
Do you think this is the future?
I do. And even America, I think our Treasury National Reserve has been discussing making a cryptocurrency to represent our dollars. Like, there's a couple like Tether and USDC. There's a few coins. They're called stable coins that are basically pegged to. They have a dollar amount associated with them. Just one coin is $1 type thing. But even the U.S. government now has gotten to a point where they've been kicking around starting their own stable coin, just government backed.
What do you think of that? Central bank digital currency. It's a big topic right now.
It is huge. And so one of the advantages to cash, obviously, usually the only time I've ever gone to the ATM was to buy drugs or gamble. Like, that even regular money these days isn't used for, maybe you're tipping a valet or something, but for the most part, it's not something that every other cash purchase that you're doing is usually with a card or like it's a debit or credit. So there's a transaction there. If people were always talking about, the government being able to see what you're spending your money on and everything. And that's one of those, like in China, they have this social credit system. I don't know if you're aware of it.
I am aware.
But I could see them instituting something like that over here in the U.S., where if you spend money on these vices, then, your demerit or, -3 points. And that's where I see the more kind of digitized that we make currency in general, like the easier it is to track in that sense. And so it becomes just another way for authoritarian minds to, data mine or do whatever with. The one thing is, though, is even in the existence of that, there's a lot of things that are illegal these days. Like you shouldn't be able to download movies and music illegally, but people do it anyway. You shouldn't be able to, you shouldn't be able to pirate satellite signals. People do it anyway. You should be able to jaywalk. People do it anyway. There's no way you can outlaw Bitcoin at this point. It doesn't. It's just the network is too robust, and so you can always use that as an alternative. Or there's currencies like Monero that are privacy focused. They're designed because with Bitcoin, it's pseudonymous, that you can be as public or as private as you want to be with that. But the entire purpose of the blockchain is it's a ledger from end to end of every transaction that's ever happened over the history of the blockchain. And so it provides that, I think for nonprofits, for instance, it's a really brilliant thing to use because I would have total accountability and anyone could audit me because they could all see which transactions are coming to my address, when withdrawals are made. I would have to have some sort of tie in to, like, what did I spend this money on? Because everybody will see it go out. Everybody sees the money come in. So I think for nonprofits and stuff, it's a super, super useful tool for accountability. I don't know if people want to adopt it because people really want accountability in that sense. For those things, it's good. But privacy coins like Monero obfuscate the transactions of the blockchain, so they can't really see if you and me are sending money to each other, and that's how it's designed. That's the kind of the point of the privacy coins. But depending on, what you're looking to get out of it, that's the thing. It's good that we have alternatives. But even if the U.S. government was trying to outlaw Bitcoin, you couldn't really. I don't think you really could. So you can try. The biggest thing that you'd be able to do is cut off central exchanges. But that's why there's just decentralized exchanges that exist now, where the liquidity pool is decided by members of the decentralized community. So if I have some Bitcoin I want to sell and you have some Ethereum you want to sell, then we'll meet in the middle somewhere in this decentralized exchange and then swap it. But it's all said, just currency is only as good as people that adopt it. Like you can walk into the corner store right now with €5 and the guy's going to laugh you out of the store, but that's real money. It's just the fact that they don't accept it there. And so once cryptocurrency gets to a point where it's in a place that everybody kind of accepts that it's real or not, then we'll see a turning point, I think.
Let's get into, we talked about it quite a bit, but we talked about it with your phone, but secure communications, Signal, WhatsApp, regular text. I mean, what is the most secure method of communication nowadays? Yeah. Everybody's worried about government overreach and big tech tracking everything we do. And what do you use?
I use Signal primarily. I have Telegram and WhatsApp, which both have the end-to-end encryption features. Purport to iMessage on iPhone actually is also end-to-end encrypted. What that means is that no one, like you and I, have the keys to unlock the contents of that conversation. So it's end to end. Like there's no intermediary server that can take that traffic and decrypt it, because the key exchange is like between the two of us. Usually what compromises devices, security, the text messaging and stuff, is that the actual phone itself is compromised. So it's not necessarily the apps themselves. Signal set by default is end-to-end encrypted, perfect forward secrecy, and it's designed to be really lightweight. Like, it doesn't have a lot of the features that Telegram and WhatsApp and stuff have. I think you can do emojis, it has link previews. It's bloated up a little bit over the years. It's not as Spartan as it used to be, but that for my money, it's all open source, so the code is auditable. And I just said, I've been a fan of Signal ever since it came out. Largely, unless mathematics is broken or quantum cryptography or quantum computing takes a huge step forward, we don't really have to worry about. You don't have to worry about Signal, like, as far as that. But where you're going to have a lot of problems is more in the fact that the device that the software is sitting on is actually compromised. So somebody's hacked your phone, and then they can read anything anyway.
But Signal will be the most secure.
This is what I use. I mean, I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, but yeah, I just endorsed just how it works, and it undergoes pretty regular audits. And it said the code is, anybody can look at it, anybody can see just how it works. And it said Signal has been kind of my secure messenger of choice for a long time. But it said iMessage offers the same protection. The clear text SMS is really bad because that's what I'm saying. Anybody in between can view the contents of those messages. So the phone company, that's why, when the court subpoenas records or whatever, if they don't have access to the phone, they don't have access to the text records. But if they're SMS, green on the iPhone, then they can just get that stuff from the phone company.